welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca. I like to talk about finances and budgeting on my channel, and today I am sharing my 2021 kind of skeleton budget. I find this very helpful when creating financial goals and trying to figure out how feasible they are and how many I can work on. So I just kind of do a very large line item budget for the whole year to see what my kind of surplus income can do. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. Usually I plan on paper in my cute little planner, but this really required a lot of changing of numbers, and I didn't want to use a lot of whiteout, and I didn't want to do all those calculations myself. So I actually made an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to show that to you instead. So I'm just going to take it a line by line, and let's look at it. Okay, so I've blocked out the first 4 sources of income just for Jared's privacy, but we do both have kind of 2 part-time jobs. Jared works for himself, so it's like not really part-time, but he just doesn't work for 40 hours a week. But that's that. And then currently we just bought our first house in September, but we aren't able to move in until March because our own lease doesn't end and the fee to get out of it is astronomical. So we have renters in there right now, and every month they pay us $1,300 for rent, and then all the electricity and utility costs, and I've just estimated what that's going to be. I think it's going to be around just $350 and then $300, and then the last month I just they won't actually be living there in April, but they started paying us in September, and our mortgage wasn't due until November, so I just actually held their money in our bank account, and we'll use it for April's rent. So that'll help us with some costs in April. And then our miscellaneous line item, sometimes we just receive random income, or Jared has a gig he didn't know about, or I have a babysitting thing, just random things. But in January, actually, we will have our stimulus check. We haven't gotten it yet, but I think it'll be there soon, so I've just included that. And then in December, we'll probably have Christmas bonuses. So our regular income is not this larger number that you see, but it's more like 60 in the sixes somewhere. And then moving down to our bills. So the very first item in our budget is always our tithe, and this isn't technically a bill, but we are believers and we feel it's very important to give right off the top, so we give 10%, and that's how I've calculated this number every month. And then the next item is rent and water. We always pay for the next month, so I always pay on the 28th for the following month. So in January, we'll pay for February's rent, and then in February, we'll actually be paying for March's rent, but we move out on March 13th, so it'll be prorated. I'm not actually sure how much the rent will be, but I just kind of guesstimated. So that's where I got that number. And then our mortgage is $1,200 every month. It's actually $1,161, but we pay $1,200 just because it's a whole round number. And then my phone bill is $44. I don't know if this will stay the same the whole year, but I don't have any knowledge that it won't, so that's what I've left it as. And then our Wi-Fi here is going to be $71.15. Every month we pay for the month that we already used. So in April we'll pay for March's use. And then our car insurance, this could also change. I don't know if it will. I'm kind of hoping that it actually goes down because we are using Progressive, and their little tool shows you like how much you use or how much driving you're doing. And obviously we're not doing very much driving right now because pandemic, and we both work from home. So I'm kind of hoping that goes down, but I don't know. Jared's health insurance, this is what it currently is, and I don't know if it'll change, so that's what I've put in. Our apartment electricity costs, I've just put what I paid last year for each of these months. I'm not really sure what it'll be, so I just kind of used last year. And then our renter's insurance is $12 every month, and that will stay the same until we move. Our Wi-Fi at the house, the contract I signed is for like basically a lifetime rate, so hopefully that will be locked in and won't ever change. And water, sewer, trash, I don't really know for this one, but I do know I've put in like the months that, since we've owned it since September, we've been paying bills since October. So I put in October's real number, November's real number, December, I guess, was around that, and then January's real number, and then I just guessed for the rest of the months and put in a higher number so that I wouldn't be disappointed, but instead could be pleasantly surprised if it were lower. Electricity is kind of the same story, and then natural gas, I do know that the house is heated by natural gas, so we will use more heat in the winter and less in the summer. And then our expenses, starting at the top, we have groceries and household, and I used to budget $400 for this, but now I'm starting to budget $420, and we actually are moving to a place where we're further away from, we currently go to Aldi, and I don't think we'll be able to go to Aldi anymore. Tragically, we'll have to go to Kroger, which is more expensive. So I've upped the budget, and that may not be enough, but I'm hoping that it is. Eating out, I've given us $180 every month. Gas, kind of a wild card. I don't really know how much we'll be driving because I don't know how much it'll be affected after after things kind of go back to normal, which I think they will in 2021. But I've put kind of like around the same amount, and then in August I think we're going to be taking a road trip, so I put more. And then in November and December, I think we'll be visiting family, so I put more in that category. And then beauty, every month I give myself $50, and I don't always use it, but I like to keep it in there. And then I get a haircut once a year. Or maybe I'll get one sooner than that, but I just know that I got one last October, and I get one at least yearly, so I'll probably get one in October again. And then miscellaneous, I just give us $100 every month, and then in March I'm giving us $500 because of our move. I know that we'll have some moving costs, like renting a U-Haul, that kind of thing. And then in November and December, extra money for the holidays. And then subscriptions usually give us $60 because that covers like our regular like Apple Music and an email account that I have. And then in January, I have a domain for business that will be renewing for my website. In February, our Amazon Prime is up. In September, we have a fee for Jared's credit card that he has, which I think I'm going to close that card when that fee, like after that comes up, because he'll have had it for a year, and we only got it so that he could work on building his credit, and he will not need to anymore because we've already bought our house. So hopefully we can do that. And then in October, we have Disney Plus renews, and also my ring insurance is due for my engagement ring. And that is all of our expenses. As you can see, our regular expenses, when we are no longer floating a rent and a mortgage and 2 sets of utilities, are all under $4,000. And ideally, I want to keep it around $3,500, but I'll see how close I can get to that. And then here is the fun part of our budget. This is where I'm working on goals. So the number one goal this year is to pay off debt. So I won't skip savings and go through debt first. So I just took whatever is left in the budget because I use a zero-based budget, and I think that this is what we're going to be able to do. So I think we're going to be able to have it paid off by July. I currently have about $14,887. So that's what I've calculated to pay off. And then I've included interest just as a line item so that I didn't forget that. Right now, I'm not paying any interest because of the national forbearance, but I know that that will end. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't so that I don't have to pay any interest, but I just have to budget on what I know right now. So that is the number one goal, and ideally we'll have that paid off by July. I know that things could always happen, and there's a good chance that that won't happen, but I know that with this schedule, we'll definitely have it paid off by the end of the year. And then back up to savings. So every month we have all of these categories, and some of them are sinking funds, and some of them are just straight savings. So this top one is our emergency fund / I call it cushion. And in January, I wanted to put $200 towards it just because of the stimulus check. I thought that would be a good use of the money. And then nothing until July when we're done paying off debt, and then that becomes our priority goal. We currently have $5,000 in our emergency fund, in addition to $3,500 in our checking account as a buffer. And I want to have $10,000 in that emergency fund, and we need $5,000 more to make that happen. So that goal will hopefully be achieved by October. And then we'll be working on our next goal, which is retirement. So following like the Dave Ramsey baby steps, that will be, I think, baby step 4. I'm not like a huge Dave Ramsey person, but I think it's a generally good plan, and so it honestly just happened to be kind of that's what I ended up doing. But I'm planning on putting $120 every month until we've hit those financial goals, and then upping it to 15% of our income. I would be more focused on this, but we are still very young. I'm 23. Jared has less time, but because he is 31, but he still has some time. So I didn't make that as much of a priority as I think I could have. And then travel is the next line item in our budget. This one is kind of just whatever I thought would be good that month. I don't know. This is kind of weird because in February we had planned to go to Belize, so I had put more money just there that I thought we'd spend on travel expenses, but we are not actually going to Belize. I'm not surprised, but we may still go on like a little weekend just getaway that's safer and easy to do. So we may still spend that money, so I'm going to leave it there, but I'm not quite sure. And then just kind of $200 or $300 every month is my plan. I'm hoping to take, I don't know, a trip to Europe next fall because we have a lot of travel credits, and so it would be ideal to not have to just blow one month, but have just been saving for it. So we'll see how that happens. And then auto, we have older cars, so every month I just put $140 in the account until we've reached kind of our other financial goals, because then I know that we are going to need to replace a car pretty soon because Jared's car is from 2003. So that becomes our financial priority after we've kind of paid for the emergency fund and started funding our retirement. I don't know how long it'll last. We plan on driving it as long as we can, but I just want to be prepared and not have to take out a car loan. And then our gifts category, my goal is to just put the equivalent of $100 in there every month, and this counts for birthdays, Christmas, wedding showers, baby showers, that kind of thing. But I kind of backloaded a lot of these funds to the second half of the year so that I could focus more on the debt in the earlier months. So I want to have in total $1,200 by the end of the year. So I've put that I would have $60 in the first months and then $140 in the second half of the year to get there. And then Christmas, I wanted to have $680, so I've kind of done the same thing, except I just haven't included any money for the first half of the year. And then health, I just want $1,200 in there during the year, so we're just doing $100 every month because an emergency could happen at any time, so I just want to have money in there. And then home maintenance, we are not putting any money in there for the first 3 months of the year because we are focusing on solely putting money towards renovations, because when we move in March, we have a couple just really little things that we want to do before we get furniture in there. And I knew that that would cost money, so that's where I took the money from. And then after that, we're going to go back to $100 and ease our way up to $180, which is kind of my goal, because that's like 1% of our home value divided by 12, and that's like what they recommend. So that's my goal. And then renovations, we've been doing $300 every month. In March and April, our big like moving months, I estimated $1,000 for each month, and I just don't really know. I know that costs are always more than you think, so I wanted to give us enough money for not having to below the budget and being okay. And then after that, I just put $100 every month for just little things. I know there are always like maybe we want to buy paint or change the light fixtures, and then $50 for the end of the year. And then our last savings item is this Telecaster, which is a guitar that my husband Jared wants. He is a musician, and he wanted this guitar, and it costs around $1,500, and then he's going to sell an instrument, so he needs to come up with, or we need to come up with about $1,000. So he's going to use his portion of the stimulus check for that, I think, and as well as $40 from our regular budget, and then $100 from our regular budget in February, and then use $100 from our regular budget in March and part of his tax refund to save up for that so that he can buy that guitar. So that is my whole budget plan for 2021. I hope you enjoyed that. I find these really helpful just so that I can look at my goals for the entire year instead of just month by month. And I highly recommend making one. It's super easy. I love Excel. I don't know. I just found out how to make formulas by watching other YouTube videos. So if you don't know how to use it, you can definitely do that too. Or you can buy one from people I know they sell them, and that would work too. So, sorry for rambling. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will subscribe and like, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.
Find myself on that old familiar pathway that leads me down that same old beat. But every day I find I'm leaving empty, with water sloshing on